GM.
Good morning.
Hey everyone. For those who are new, welcome to our Forge Chats. So this is a regular dev AMA that we hold every few weeks. Probably going to be happening a bit more regularly now, actually moving forward as well. For those who know who I am, my name is Marty, also known as Alcatraz. I'm the CEO at Lightning Forge Games, which is a blockchain and AI-powered game studio based in Australia. Before we do the other introductions, I'd like to apologize just to the community in general. This Forge Chat was meant to happen like over a week ago. So we've been sitting on some pretty fucking juicy alpha for the past like 10 days. I was at the wedding and I decided it'd be really fun to catch both COVID and influenza A at the same time. And then double down on that and have that lead into a chest and sinus infection as well. So unfortunately, as much as I wanted to still do the Forge Chat at its planned time, I had no voice, couldn't get out of bed, and just was pretty bad way. But apologies for the delay on this one. But what do you reckon, Barker? Do you reckon we've got enough stuff to drop today that'll make up for it?
Dude, this one's going to be juicy. I'm actually so pumped for this. Yes, we definitely have more than enough. I might as well introduce myself. I'm Barker, head of community, and I'll throw it to Draz. He can introduce himself.
Draz, community member and mod at LFG. Just here to grill the guys and ask any questions. Looking forward to the alpha. And good
Easy
to see
done.
you well, Matt.
Yeah, that was it was a rough week. But I mean, thankfully, probably one of the big takeaways from it. One of the things that I've always liked doing at previous studios and companies and stuff like that is what we affectionately refer to as the bus test. And it's basically you randomly get different people to usually just take a holiday. Like basically, what would happen if this person got hit by a bus and just disappeared for like a week or two? Thankfully, the team, growing team now, I think we're 11 people now. The team, kept doing their thing really well. I was able to get in some good rest and recovery time. And it was good to actually see the team sort of be able to continue with everything that we were working on. There's a lot of moving pieces behind a studio that's doing things I almost gave away what we're doing. Doing some very interesting things. But it was definitely good to see everyone sort of pull together and some really amazing work happening over the past week there as well.
Nice.
Sure.
Bark, you still there, or you're frozen there a bit?
Am I frozen? Hello.
Yep. So. It's not frozen. Actually, let me jump over quickly and check out Twitter. I want to see if you're frozen there too, just for fun.
Okay.
You're frozen there too.
All right.
That's fine. We can hear you. We tried pumping up this to 1080p, mostly because the stuff we were dropping, we wanted to make sure it looked really good today. So we might need to get you upgrade your internet or something, Barker. We'll have to play around with that.
I don't know what's happening. I'm very sorry, everyone. I'll have to hide my beautiful face.
We'll go grab your Starlink or something. I hear they work pretty well. But I know we've got an agenda for today, man. So do you want to kick us off?
Yeah, for sure. Well, first off, we've got the giveaway. So, we're really excited to be giving away a Forge key to one lucky winner. Basically, all you have to do to get into the draw is just put a question. We have some really interesting things coming up, so I'm sure there's going to be lots of natural questions. But all you have to do is ask us a question live, and at the end of this Forge Chat, we are going to give it away. So I'll be keeping track of all the winners. I'll do a random number generator, and it should be good.
Yeah, awesome.
But okay, so now we're moving on to the alpha, the real juicy stuff. And I guess I'll start it off with just a question to you, Marty. Mm-hmm. Can you give us a brief outline as to what is this GM thing that I've been seeing all over our X and Discord?
So GM, it's something that crypto Twitter says to each other quite a lot. It's good morning. It's a really fun, friendly way to say hello to everyone. And I can't think of anything else that it could possibly stand for. Draz, do you know anything else? It might. You've got that smirk because you saw the video I'm about to play like 2 minutes ago.
Exactly. So I will keep quiet because I don't want to lie. I do know something.
Just a little bit. Yeah. So for everyone wondering, Draz does get some slightly early alpha, but he's only a few minutes ahead of everyone else here.
Literally.
The big announcement is a video. I'm just going to play and we'll talk about it because it's pretty fucking good. So it would be this one here.
Boom goes a dynamite.
So we've been saying all along that Lightning Forge Games is working on our flagship title, Grand Tactics Final Order, GTFO. And that hasn't changed. That's still the game that is our flagship title. That's the epic scale auto battler. We've been showing that at some shows. There's a really cool launch trailer for that that will be dropping hopefully really soon. But that's obviously our big focus is GTFO. But one of the things we've been working on, how it's going to hide that again. I need to work out how to put that up on the screen, just like next to. I'll figure that out in a sec. What we've been really working on over the past few weeks is, I guess you'd call it the road to GTFO. From where we are today, which is, we've built what we call Little GTFO, which is our vertical slice proof of concept. And that solved a lot of design and technical problems for us. It showed us what the game could look like, how the game could play, how it would feel. It's helped us quite a bit in terms of how we actually bring new people into the ecosystem, how we onboard both Web 2 and Web 3 gamers at the same time. So there's a lot of really great stuff that came out of Little GTFO. And we're taking those learnings and working on the full release of GTFO planned for towards the end of 2025. And as we're working on this, we're like, well, hang on. We're building some really cool shit along the way here. And we really don't want people to have to wait for the full GTFO game. So what if on the road to GTFO, we took what we're building and we kind of make a separate, more casual game on the way there? And that's where Gladiator Mayhem sort of sprung out of. So GM, Gladiator Mayhem, will be the first game released from Lightning Forge Games. It will be dropping in early 2025. So not that far off. Like we're what, 25th of November right now, for anyone who might be watching this in the future. We're towards the end of 2024. It'll be releasing in early 2025. We're not seeing an actual date just yet for obvious reasons. What is it? It is a 2v2 hero battler. So in the full Grand Tactics Final Order game, where you've got your heroes leading vast armies, hundreds of units going crazy on this massive battlefield, imagine if we took those heroes and we threw them into a gladiator arena. You've got the same heroes, the same abilities, the same power-ups, but now you're focused on just 2v2 combat. They can be two of your own heroes. It can be you and a friend teaming up against, other teams. There'll be similar forms of, I guess you'd call them, like in various forms of engagement, different things you can compete in. So there'll be tournaments, there'll be leaderboards, all the same sort of things that we're building for the full GTFO experience. We want to bring that as far forward as we can to get them into people's hands. Why would we do that? There's two main reasons. One, we like making games. We like people playing our games. It's as simple as that. The quicker people have the chance to actually play the stuff that we're actually creating, we go from just being a studio that's talking about a lot of cool stuff to a studio that's actually got things out there that you can actually download and play. The second side to it comes back heavily to what I said at the very start. We are a blockchain and AI-powered game studio. On the AI side of things, we're training deep reinforcement learning ML models that actually control all of your actual heroes. It tells them what they should be doing, when they should be using different abilities, what they should attack, where they should run forwards, backwards, all the things that they do on the battlefield. The quicker we're able to actually get data flowing through that ML agent, the better the actual results will be. So the actual training itself will have more data to actually build that model from. So one of the other benefits of building GM first is it means that you can actually start doing all your AI training with your heroes, and that AI training will then apply over into other games that we release down the road. So this is work that we would have to do this either way. With any sort of ML agent, the way we're sort of planning on doing it, using like some sort of deep reinforcement learning model, you need to have that base training data to build from. So the AIs need to understand at a very base level what they are able to actually do, and then they can sort of iterate and sort of train from that. We can probably get ahead of AI on a future Forge chat because he can explain it a million times better than I can. But yeah, the quicker we can get that data flowing through the system, and the more data that we can get flowing through the system, the better the result will be, both from a gameplay perspective, but also for the community. As you're collecting heroes, you want to be able to train them up and have them actually be smarter at what they're actually doing. So by the time we get to the full GTFO release, if you've been playing since, say, the launch of GM, your heroes, they may not be more powerful than other people's heroes, but they will be smarter than other people's heroes, which is a whole new paradigm, really, to this style of gameplay. For so long, we've had these sort of, if you think, more traditional, say, auto battlers or RPGs and stuff like that, we're very used to the concept that you can have a hero or a character that is stronger than someone else's. That's, we've been there, we've done that. The concept of having two even characters, but one is smarter than the other, that opens up a very new, very interesting, very dynamic world that LFG gets to play in. And we're really looking forward to seeing how that affects everything that we do, whether it be tournaments, the metagame, leaderboards, the heroes that you choose to go into a battle. We think it's going to be really interesting. So that is Gladiator Mayhem, the first release coming from Lightning Forge Games in early 2025.
Sweet. And the learning of the AI, that goes into the tactics.
Yep.
NFT
So so your AIs are all training tactics, and then basically as you're jumping into a game, you can have some high-level influence over which tactics they'll be using in a few different ways. Actually, you can actually specifically add and remove tactics from different heroes. You can trade them. They're an asset on the secondary marketplace. If you choose to, if you train a tactic that's really good in a certain situation, you might sell it to someone else. You might rent it to me for a tournament and stuff like that, which is really interesting in that not only are the heroes an asset that you own, the tactics that they've learnt become an asset that you own and control as well. Both your ability to train and being able to train earlier than other people adds a lot of value to what you're actually getting there.
What does Gladiator Mayhem look like? We've sort of seen what GTFO looks like. Is there any idea what the sort of style of game that is?
Yeah, we've got some internal prototypes at the moment. We're not showing any screenshots or any videos just yet. We'll be showing that very, very soon. Mostly because we're still locking down exactly what the actual aesthetic is going to look like. But yeah, like I said, at a high level, think of it much less like, the stuff we've shown for GTFO, which is like massive, epic, Lord of the Rings or, that style of large scale warfare. And think of it if you've seen the movie Gladiator, the good one, not the new one. If GTFO is that opening battle, the massive Roman army against like the barbarian horde, GM is the end of the movie where it's the Colosseum, but it's one or two people sort of battling it out. The arena itself definitely will come into play. We're already playing around with ideas where doing dynamic battlefields, dynamic environments, having the floor drop away, stuff like that. A lot of things that your AI has to deal with on the fly. That again, the more training it has had, if all of a sudden a massive pit opens up in the middle of the floor, if your hero has seen that before, they will know they need to walk around that. If they've never seen that before, they're just going to walk forwards and literally fall into a massive hole. AI training adds a very unique dynamic approach to the gameplay in general. But yeah, think of this much more, and I mean, the design work that we've been doing, especially in like level design, because a lot of this comes down to the level itself. How do you make GM different to GTFO? It's not just a scaled down version. It's going to feel very differently. This feels, if you remember old school games like Unreal Tournament or Quake 3 Arena and stuff like that, like arena style combat games, we're taking a lot of inspiration from that style of aesthetic and feel when we're actually designing everything that's going into this. So yeah, when we're in a position where we're confident, like we've got the design, the aesthetic really locked in, we're happy to start sharing some stuff. There's going to be some really cool things that makes GM, hopefully, what we're hoping here is that this stands alone as a really fun game, something a bit more on the more casual side of things than a full experience like GTFO or Game 3, which is planned there as well. But definitely something that you would play as a standalone experience, as well as hopefully you would then take those same heroes and also play with them in GTFO and also play with them in, maybe there's a Game 3, who knows?
Foreshadowing.
Have we announced that there's 3 games in development? I can't remember. Guess what? There's 3 games in
Uh,
development. There's
Let's say
GM, there's
yes.
GTFO, and we're not telling the name of the other one yet.
Really?
I'm not going to YOLO that hard.
No.
Oh boy, yeah. Well, yeah. There's a lot of interesting questions coming up. You know what? Let's put a couple on before we move on to the next segment. Next couple of things I want to talk about. So Lenza Termo asked, what measures are in place to make it easy for new users to onboard and adopt LFG games, especially those unfamiliar with Web3? I think this works well because we talked about it with GTFO, but we want to make sure people know that it works with GM as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is something that the LFG team has been really committed to from day one. We don't refer to ourselves as a Web3 gaming studio. We refer to ourselves just as a game studio that happens to use the best of blockchain and the best of AI. Because, I mean, I think I tweeted about this like literally the other night. I was really frustrated. I was looking at a Web3 game, and the first thing it did was pop up asking me to like sign in with accounts, connect to wallet, and all this other bullshit. And it's like, well, that's not a game. You've made a DeFi app in a game engine, basically. So probably the 2 big things that we're doing in that regard. One comes down to the way we build our games, and the other one comes down to the platforms where we release our games. So I'll touch on the first one first, but it will lead nicely into the second. We're building games. When you open up GM for the first time, when you open up GTFO for the first time, when you open up Game 3 for the first time, you will not see a login screen. You will not see a wallet connect screen. You will not be asked, what is your private key or any rubbish like that. You'll be thrown straight into fun, engaging, beautiful gameplay. Then at some point down the road, if you choose to connect a wallet, if you choose to engage on the Web3 side, great, we'll fully support you. If you don't, the fun part about the way we're building, and we've actually, not to foreshadow one of our other things we'll talk about later on, Barker, but obviously with our relationship with ThirdWeb, even if you choose not to connect an external wallet, under the hood, we've actually created a wallet for you. And everything you're doing in the game is happening on-chain. So the heroes you're collecting, the tokens you're collecting, any items, any equipment, any cosmetics are all on-chain, sitting in a wallet. Everything you do in the store, if you're trading with another player, you're actually doing, like we're sponsoring the gas, you're actually doing on-chain transactions, but we're obfuscating the whole thing. We're making it so easy that it just feels like you're playing a traditional Web2 game. At any point, if you choose to take custody of that wallet, we'll support you in doing that. It'll be literally go to our website, press a button, bang, you've now got this wallet. We'll still work with it. We'll still use it for the game. Nothing will change as far as the games, I should say, are concerned. But we really see this as being the way that all Web3 games or games that use the blockchain need to move towards, where the focus is on a fun, engaging game. We use the blockchain for all the benefits that it brings to the equation, but we're not going to use it as a crutch. We're not going to use it as an impediment. We don't want to block people from being able to play a game because they may not understand, how to swap between different chains on their wallet of choice, or even what a wallet happens to be. So that's probably the first thing we're doing. We're not building Web3 games specifically, not in the way that you probably traditionally think of them. We're building games that use the blockchain. The other side to it is the platforms where we release our games. And we firmly believe that you need to meet gamers where they are. Gamers are not going to download, random installers or random, stores from, dodgy looking websites. They know where they want to play their games from, and they're going to stick with platforms they know and trust. Those are platforms such as, on iOS, the App Store. On Android, it's Google Play. On PC and Mac, it's the Epic Game Store. It's also quite quickly, rapidly growing. It's web-based and it's Telegram-based games. So for those who may not be aware, Telegram has just under 1 billion daily active users. That's billion with a B. That is a big number. That's trade commerce. And they're doing a lot of work at the moment to make really amazing, what they call Telegram mini apps. And we're seeing some of those, both games and other sort of, there's like a dating app on there now. There's a wallet app. There's a few different things popping up. I was fortunate enough to go over to Ton Gateway over in Dubai a few weeks ago, and like to buy your pass and everything. That was a mini app that was all done like through the Telegram app. It was actually really smooth and really seamless to do it all. But what we haven't really seen there yet, which everyone is crying out for on that platform, are not serious, but well-built, fun, engaging games. at the moment there's a lot of like clicker games, but we're really looking for what that next step will be. The sort of games that people really want to dive into and play in the same way that, in China, WeChat games are huge over there. This is just an alternative form of distribution is the way we look at it. But it's a distribution channel with hundreds of millions of potential gamers looking for fun experiences they can play. And both our games and some of our ecosystem partners as well are looking at them quite seriously. But we feel that the way we're building our games using AI, the fact that games don't require as much in-depth attention all the time, really does fit what a user of a messaging platform might be looking for. So yeah, we can officially announce that GM, in addition to iOS, Android, PC, Mac, and web, will also be launching on Telegram, as well as any of our other games in our ecosystem that we are technically able to get running on that platform. There are some limitations to what you're able to do with Telegram mini apps. Now, one of the benefits we have is we've been building everything from day one with the understanding that our games need to be highly performant, they need to run on as many devices as possible. To the extent that we're literally in the process of building a full custom game engine to make that happen. We're literally trying to squeeze every iota of performance out of your devices to make sure you have the best experience playing our games. Because we've had that approach from day one, we don't need to do a lot of work to get games running on Telegram. When we were thinking about doing this, I threw it out to one of my developers. It was like a Thursday afternoon. I'm like, hey, just for fun, by the end of the week, you reckon you can get this running? This is little GTFO. You reckon you can get this running on Telegram? And he had it there by Friday morning. And we were playing little GTFO like on Telegram. So yeah, we're only at this stage announcing that GM will be on Telegram. It'll be launching first on Telegram as well. But yeah, we are hopeful and optimistic that as many titles as possible that we're able to support on that platform will be on there as well. And when we say supported, we're talking full, like we're not just doing any half measures here. We'll support Telegram Stars, which is their own like sort of virtual currency they support. We'll support like wallet integration if you want to make any purchases using crypto. We'll support like their dynamic resolution stuff. We'll support landscape mode. So everything that Telegram mini apps are like really looking for in high quality games at the moment, we're looking to deliver. So yeah, so basically, yeah, you'll be able to play everything we build, and it'll be the same account. Once you sign in on one device, you can then you start playing on Telegram, play later on that day on your Mac or on iOS or wherever you choose to play the game. It'll be the same experience across the board. But yeah, iOS, Android, PC, Mac, web, Telegram, out of the box.
We aren't fucking around. That's it.
As a very famous studio lead of a very beloved Web3 studio used to say, we're not here to fuck spiders.
Exactly right. That should be our motto. Yep. All right. Well, you know what? I think we'll head off to the next topic. So we have introduced an cohort system. So our OGs on the Discord, they have been lucky enough to have access to getting their role now. I suppose, Marty, could you tell us a little bit about the cohort system, what they're going to get? Everything. I want to know everything.
Absolutely. So, what are LFG cohorts? In a nutshell, LFG cohorts are basically ways that you can pre-register and get early access to everything we're doing in the LFG ecosystem, including Gladiator Mayhem, GM. So we're starting with cohort 1. So basically everyone who jumps in our Discord right now, so we'd strongly recommend if you're watching this live or within the next 24 hours, jump on our Discord. You can also access it through our link tree, the links on our Twitter and stuff like that. And in our roles channel, you can claim the role for cohort 1. And everyone in cohort 1 will basically will be one of the first people to have access to GM as well as other games coming in the future. And we'll have access to exclusive prizes, promotions, giveaways, and airdrops for that particular cohort. And because it's cohort 1, and because we're rewarding everyone who's watching this live or is basically following us at this early stage of the life of LFG, that role will be open for 24 hours. So at 5 p.m. or I think 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. Parker tomorrow.
6 p.m. our time.
Sorry. Yep. So 6 p.m. Sydney time tomorrow. That role will close forever. And when that closes, cohort 2 will open up, and cohort 2 will be open for I believe 3 days. So basically, the earlier that you're able to jump in, You can get into the earlier cohorts, which have basically, bigger tournaments, bigger prizes, bigger airdrops allocated to them, and they will be the first people to get access to various games, including GM and GTFO. Now, here's the cool thing with this. You can kind of game the system a little bit. So if you wanted to, you could join Cohort 1 today. I reckon Draz is probably off there doing it right now. But if you wanted to... Oh, cool. You're already in. Okay, cool. But then if you wanted to, tomorrow, you could join Cohort 2. And in a few days' time, you could join Cohort 3. In a few days' time after that, you could join Cohort 4. So we're not restricting how many of the cohorts you choose to join. If you join all of them, great. It means you're eligible for all of the different promotions that each cohort has access to. Obviously, you'll get early access based on the earliest cohort that you are in. So the quicker you get into them, the better. But yeah, we figured this was a really great way to reward the people in our community who have been following us from day one. So our OGs, so anyone who was around for literally when our Discord was first set up, our OGs were I think that role was open for a week. It was the first people to join our Discord. And again, like I said, we've closed that now. That will never be opened again. OGs get early access to some alpha and stuff like that, so they knew about the cohort system a few minutes before everyone else. But yeah, they'll all be joining. Hopefully, I hope they're all joining Cohort 1 as we speak. And then yeah, you can join as many cohorts as you would like. Was there anything else we were going to announce about it, Barker? I can't remember if we were going to drop any other.
Look, there's one cheeky thing that I want to hold off on. I think that we hold off on that Cohort X for Sunday. That'll be a big news on X. So everybody, please keep an eye out, because on Sunday you're going to see some pretty awesome stuff. Sunday our time, might be Saturday your time.
Yeah.
Depends.
It's a pretty that other bit of alpha you're talking about there. That's some pretty engaging alpha right there. So,
it is.
Yeah, that could be really So yeah, that's definitely interesting. Were we going to announce the airdrop or the size? Or was that, I can't remember doing that now or later?
I mean, look, all these people, they're here, they're patiently waiting. I think they deserve to hear a little bit about that.
I mean, you could almost say there's 500,000 reasons why you'd want to get into the early cohorts, couldn't you?
There is. Yes.
How do you get into the cohorts? It's really easy. You go to Linktree/Lightning Forge Games, and you join our Discord. And in the roles channel, which it'll be one of the first channels that you see when you join, there'll be a button. It's collect roles. There's a little button there you can react to get that role.
For sure. Yeah, it's should be very quick and easy. I've already got the role. I can't wait.
Yeah. And then obviously in there as well, you can also jump into the LFG Engage role too, which is basically a rewards program for people that respond to our tweets. So if you already do like and comment on our tweets and retweet them and stuff like that, definitely jump in on that as well, because you get to earn engage points, and maybe there's a really cool reason why you'd want those. Yeah,
that'd be true. There was also someone that asked, can we join both cohorts? Yes, you can join any cohort. So 1 through X should be fun.
I mean, theoretically, you could skip 1 and just do 2, but I don't know why you do that. You definitely want to be in the earliest cohort that you can get into.
Yes, let's just say there's incentives to join early.
Is there an end to the cohort number? Is X the end, like on Sunday?
No. So there will be an end to the cohort numbers, but there won't be, the one on Sunday won't be the last one.
Right.
So basically, it's almost like we've come up with this really sneaky plan to get people to, pay attention to our Discord. I know it's.
I don't want to answer that one.
Yeah. But yeah, basically, if you're in our Discord, make sure you have your notifications on and stuff like that. We don't spam you too much. It's usually only if I'm drunk or tired or something like that. But yeah, definitely there'll be some interesting stuff coming out of that.
Yeah. Do you also want to maybe touch on maybe some of the things they might expect if they're in the airdrops? I may have put something in the private chat in the thingamajig that I'm unsure if we've touched on.
Yeah, I mean, we can mention that. Why not? So, hey, Draz, have you heard of these things called airdrops?
I have, yes.
They're kind of. I
haven't heard of any from here yet.
No, we haven't announced any from here yet. And I guess technically we're not announcing the exact reward you get for the cohorts yet. So maybe we're not talking about airdrops specifically, but I hear airdrops are really cool. And I hear that if you're going to do an airdrop, a cohort-based airdrop system, you would probably front load those airdrops to the earlier cohorts to make sure you are rewarding your, people that are paying attention, people that are listening to our Forge chats, people that are active in our Discord, all that sort of stuff. So maybe if there was going to be some LFG token airdrops coming very, very soon, then maybe you'd want to get into cohort 1 and cohort 2 and cohort 3, etc., etc., etc. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just. This is all hypothetical. I don't know.
I'm so glad that my camera's not on because my face is just it's lit up like a Christmas tree.
Well, you've got access to Slack. You can see all the notes, which kind of takes some of the fun away of this. But yeah, we've got.
Sorry, I was going to say, this is the actual LFG token that you're talking about airdropping.
Yes. Yep. We haven't touched too much on the token itself.
No.
I know we're going to drop our tokenomics and our white paper very, very soon as well. There's been a lot of changes to that over the last months. Obviously, things are changing rapidly. What we're doing as a studio, things are changing rapidly in the Web3 ecosystem. Making sure that we are designing it to be a long-term, sustainable tokenomics model. We all want to be around here for the next 5 or 10 years doing this. So making sure we've got everything set up to allow us to do that is really important. But also at the same time, we want to make sure that we are having some fun with it and that we are rewarding people who are highly engaged and that are, doing things such as joining our early cohorts, playing GM, playing GTFO and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For sure, man. Oh man, some exciting times ahead, everyone. I'm pumped. All right, well, let's kind of go away from this exciting, groundbreaking stuff and cover some of the things that we've done in probably the month since we've done Forge Chat. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Sorry about
that. How dare you have a respiratory system? Okay, so the Halloween NFT. That was a lot of fun. We saw a lot of really cool things happen with that. We're pretty keen to do things that are very similar to it in the future with other holiday events. So I definitely recommend that everyone keeps an eye out for that because we've got some pretty cool things coming. I've seen some of the concept art, etc., for little prizes and NFT drops that we're planning on doing. So yeah, please keep an eye out on our Discord because there's some pretty cool things coming your way pretty soon. The end of the year's almost here. It's crazy.
The Halloween NFT, is it? Have you got any sort of functionality on that yet? Could it be part of a game, or we don't know, or we're not mentioning yet?
So what we can say about that for now is it and any other similar NFTs that we drop in the future will have utility in every game that we release. So that particular NFT is basically, it's set to one of the factions. So it'll be a cosmetic that you can wear. It will give you a slight boost in game. So straight off the bat, from day one, if you've got that NFT, you're ahead of everyone else. It won't be a drastic sort of difference. And it would definitely be the sort of difference where if you had a well-trained hero, I would expect them to be able to counter it and get around it. Maybe they shoot the arrow elsewhere on the body instead of aiming for the head. But yeah, like I said, it's a really cool way for us to have a bit of fun with it, with the ecosystem that we are building. It allows us to do stuff for various holiday events. Maybe there's something coming up in about a month from now as well. Maybe exactly a month from now.
Christmas.
Well, it could be. I don't know. I think Hanukkah's around that time, isn't it? Yeah, but like I said, we'll be doing more of those moving forward. I know the art team loves doing them. The design team loves designing them. The programmers hate having to program them. So it's a good match for everyone. It works well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so definitely keep an eye on all our socials because this one was announced on Twitter. We may or may not do some specific to other platforms. So if you jump on our link tree, which the link is just there up on your screen right now, you can make sure that you're on our Twitter, you're in our Discord, you're in our Telegram. You can even check out our Medium. Maybe there's a hidden some hidden stuff in that Medium article that dropped last week as well. But yeah, just make sure you're following all of our different socials and other different platforms, because you never know when we will announce something. You don't know how long we'll give you for that. We generally like giving at least 24 hours for different giveaways, so that regardless of what time zone you're in, everyone's got an equal shot. But outside of that, then there's never any guarantees. Like something might run for a day, it might run for a week. Yeah, we like to mix things up and keep it interesting. So yeah, you got to make sure you're following all of our socials to keep on top of that.
Exactly right. You don't want to miss out on some of his cool things.
Exactly.
All right. Well, should we move on, or Draz, do you have a question?
No. I was just going to say I'm going to have to look at that Medium now. You guys are classic for hiding things.
I would never say that.
Mouse over every word and see if there's any links and things. But yeah.
I think the best one I did, I've done previously, was I hid something in an exclamation mark.
Yeah.
So you had to see that there was a little line under it. Yeah. So you guys have fun with it.
Yeah. Definitely.
For sure. All right. Well, the next one, ThirdWeb. You mentioned before that we enjoying some connections with ThirdWeb. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that one, Marty.
Yeah, exactly. So ThirdWeb actually run their own incubator cohorts. It's just a word that's getting thrown around a lot these days. But yeah, we're part of Cohort 3. A lot of other cool, interesting projects that we're connected to through that, as well as having direct access to, well, we already had access, but having more direct access, not just to the front end ThirdWeb team, but to the back end. We've got direct access to all their developers working on new features. We can test stuff out before it goes live to the general public, stuff like that. For those who may be aware, ThirdWeb are basically a Web3 infrastructure provider. So they do a lot of cool things such as custodial wallets, login systems, authentication systems. They've recently rolled out some cool AI on chain stuff there as well. So we've been chatting with them now for quite a while. We've been working with them now for quite a while. But being accepted into their cohort for their incubator program was really cool. And yeah, pretty much everything we're building, from both our website, mint pages and stuff like that, even just general login stuff on the website, through to all of our games, regardless of what platform you're on. ThirdWeb are basically helping us manage all of those different platforms, all those different wallet connections, doing a custodial wallet if you don't have one, handling gasless transactions in a way that's safe and audited. So there's a lot of really cool tech that they're sort of all brought together, that we're leaning very heavily on. Again, like that, one of the first questions that we had, how do we onboard gamers into Web3 games? Well, you don't. You onboard them into games. And ThirdWeb really is an amazing partner for us to work with for that goal, because they've really managed to build a lot of the sort of technologies that, otherwise we'd have to build it all ourselves. Knowing that they've already done the hard lifting, the heavy lifting for us, is great for us, because we can basically just use their work as a starting point. And then instead of us having to build, contracts for, ERC 4337, custodial wallets and stuff like that, we can focus more on building, what we do best. So custom game engines, cool art, cool animations, and engaging gameplay, and lean into the stuff that they've built. So couldn't be happier working with them. If you are, a fellow builder in the Web3 space, would strongly recommend. Please feel free to reach out to me on whatever platform. I'm always happy to make that connection. They're a really great team of people to work with, and we couldn't be happier to be working with them. Yeah,
they're a bunch of legends. It's so good to see. All right. So we've already touched on Ton a little bit. So I reckon we go to the community questions. There's been some pretty good ones. Let us start with this one. Liavo Flappers. Can you share more about the long-term vision for LFG and what features are on the roadmap?
Yeah, cool. I guess we've kind of done that today. Obviously our long-term goal hasn't changed. We're hard at work on our flagship title, Grand Tactics Final Order, or GTFO. I guess the big announcement today, working on GM, is that we're doing everything we can to make sure that our community can basically come along with us on the ride. We want to make sure we get things into people's hands as quickly as possible. We're still looking to release Little GTFO to the public as well. We're just trying to work out the best way to do that, keeping in mind that was very much never built as a game. That was very much built as a prototype or a design tool. Having said that, still we've had a lot of people playing it at conferences and events. It's still a lot of fun, so we still want to get that into people's hands. Maybe that would be a cohort 1 thing. Who knows? But yeah, so features on the roadmap, very much, yeah, we're building GM, we're building GTFO. Like I said, we'll be dropping our white paper in tokenomics very, very shortly. We're gearing up for both our first mint, which will be Forge Keys, which Draz has got one there as his background image. Can't see what faction that one's for. Well, that was a little bit alpha. Ooh, maybe that. Ooh, anyway, who knows? And yeah, obviously there will be our TGE for our LFG token as well. The LFG token will be a high utility token, basically driving everything within the LFG ecosystem, including the AI training of all of your heroes. So it'll be a pivotal part of what we're building. But again, the way we are building, I think, is just as important in that there'll be people who own LFG tokens, are training heroes, trading on chain, and don't even realize they're playing a blockchain-based game. I think that's, such a huge opportunity to onboard the next million Web3 gamers, where they don't have to be a Web3 gamer unless they choose to be. They can still have all the benefits of owning on-chain assets, of having true digital ownership of digital items, where they can trade, they can rent, they can train AI in their heroes, and not need to know what MetaMask is, not need to know which exchanges are safe and which ones are dodgy. They just get to jump into the ecosystem and hopefully enjoy multiple really fun, cool games.
For sure. All right, let's go on to the next question. This one's from Liver4dat. What unique benefits or utilities come with owning a Forge Key?
That's a great question. And when the medium, the white paper, and the tokenomics come out, I would strongly suggest reading it, because it will answer that specific question for you. Forge keys are going to be basically if the LFG token is the token in which the LFG ecosystem is built around, Forge keys are the NFT that the LFG ecosystem is built around. There will be a fixed supply. Once they're gone, outside of secondary trading and stuff like that. And they're being designed both for upfront and long-term incentives and rewards for people that choose to own them. So there's a bunch of different things planned around them, both around how they interact with our token, how they interact with AI training, how they interact with even acquiring heroes in the first place. There's a lot of interesting things that they open up for you. And maybe each Forge key also has an affiliation with one of the 12 factions that are planned within the LFG ecosystem. So maybe while they all have value outside of that, maybe if you happen to like playing with the Imperial, the Barbarians, or the Pirates, or don't think we'd announced that one yet.
Anyway. What?
Yeah. Oops. And nice. Maybe there's specific Forge keys that you want to hold at different times, or maybe there's Forge keys that you want to trade with different people depending on your preferred army, your preferred heroes, and stuff like that. So, but yeah, definitely not a necessity. Like, again, we're definitely building all of our games with the mindset that if you choose to be just a free-to-play player, you just want to enjoy the games, you can definitely do so. But if you want to get the most value out of everything we are building, if you want to really deep dive into the LFG ecosystem, then yeah, when that stuff drops very, very soon, I would strongly suggest having a look at that. And then, yeah, if you choose to grab one or several, then yeah, obviously you'll be able to do so. Well, you might be able to do so depending on, if you're an OG, what cohort you're in. So yeah, if you are interested in obtaining a Forge key, asking questions in this, you're in the draw to win one now. So maybe you don't care anymore because you're just going to win one for free, and then who cares? But yeah, definitely check out all the stuff around them because there's a lot of cool stuff we've got planned for them.
Well, I heard on the grapevine that there might be incentives for having more than one. Not that I want to confirm nor deny anything.
Yeah, so we can touch on this actually just from a more broad design aspect as well. One of the big things that, again, we've been looking at since day one with Lightning Forge Games, it's making sure that if we do have various forms of engagement, such as owning multiple Forge keys, owning multiple heroes and stuff like that, we wanted to make sure that we had a very, I guess what we call a horizontal progression curve, in that, in a lot of traditional games, if say that there's a game where your NFT, maybe it's a pirate ship, I don't know, but you can only play with one pirate ship at a time. Well, all of a sudden, everyone loves owning one, but there's almost no point in owning two, and definitely no point in owning 3, 4, 5, 6, whatever it happens to be. I would much rather design an ecosystem where if you have one Forge key, cool, you're gonna love it. If you have two, well, you've basically just doubled your value. And then 3, 4, 5 sort of works in that same way. And the same with heroes. We've already announced with like, say, GM, for example, you would want to have, hopefully at least 2 heroes so you can go and do different battles. If you had 4 heroes, well, that's great. So you can do 2 battles at the same time. Or maybe you can enter a tournament twice. So you have 2 different teams. So maybe you actually want to have, heroes from as many different factions as possible to give you the most options when it comes to putting teams together. Or maybe you decide you want to go the other way. You want to deep dive on one particular faction and really train that faction and know what it can do inside and out. So there's a few different ways you can potentially go there. Or maybe you go both. You just have this massive hero collection. But the important part of that is and again, this scales all the way through the GTFO. If you have enough heroes, enough units in GTFO to field 2 of the largest armies that the game will support, and we hold like our massive tournaments, huge prize pools where you have to enter like, the biggest armies you can do. Well, you get 2 shots at that tournament. You literally can enter that tournament twice. And theoretically, there is a world where one player can come first and second if they choose to do so. So we're not disadvantaging players who maybe don't have as big of a collection. Maybe the free-to-play players who are just, grinding away. They've got a few heroes, and some regular units. They can definitely jump in and play. But if you do choose to own multiple Forge keys, multiple heroes, if you have a very large collection across all the games that we're doing, then yeah, definitely we'll support you in that and make sure that you're getting the value for doing so.
For sure. All right. So thank you, Liver, for that. Here's Macy Avram with how can the community contribute to the growth and development of the LFG ecosystem?
This one's really easy because everyone who's in chat right now, thank you, because you're actually doing it. Honestly, the best way at this point in time you can contribute to growth and development for us, tell all your friends, jump in our Discord, messages in Telegram, ask us what we're up to. This is the gaming industry and the Web3 industry, blockchain industry as well. Very much as a word of mouth thing. As much as I will happily scream from the rooftops about everything the LFG ecosystem is doing. Unfortunately, I'm only one person, and despite rumors to the contrary, I can catch COVID and I can catch influenza A, and be out for a week. So honestly, the best way you can contribute and help us out is just tell everyone about it, retweet our tweets, be active in our Discord, and just be as engaged as possible. That helps. That alone helps us out more than I think anyone would possibly imagine. Just being active and engaged in our community as we build.
1,000,000%. All right. Thank you for that question. Now we have Deshaun Albany with, are there any plans for staking or earning elements tied to the LFG games?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for the question.
Okay. So yes, for the LFG token. Yes, for Forge keys. Heroes, not a staking system per se, but there will be, how do I put this without, oh fuck it, we'll just talk about it. So because of the way we're building the game, because we're building a full custom deterministic game engine and a bunch of other stuff which is really technical and no one really cares about, you can basically play the game while you're offline. And I don't just mean that the game plays itself while you close. I mean that, well, you can do that, but I mean literally you can hop on a plane that doesn't have Wi-Fi and you can play ranked leaderboard games of GM and GTFO. I don't know any game in Web3 is doing that. I don't really know any games in Web2 that are doing that. It's actually really stupid and really hard. And we've got a lot of really talented devs who are going to work really, really hard to make this happen. So you wouldn't be technically staking your heroes, but the fact that you can play with them and they can be, you know, working you up the leaderboard, competing in tournaments 24/7, 365, that would be the equivalent of, I guess, that sort of passive earning or staking style system for your heroes. But absolutely, for both the LFG token and for your Forge keys, there are staking systems set up for those already.
Hell yeah. All right. Thank you very much for your question. All right. Let's head to Deborah Shamilla. Are there any upcoming partnerships or collaborations that will expand the reach or functionality?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that.
Yeah, absolutely there are. We're working with a lot of really interesting groups and influencers behind the scenes. Pretty much with this at the moment, we're timing everything that we do to basically give us maximum impact. At the moment, we're kind of still in like almost like stealth mode. So if you know, you always see that whole thing, you want to be early to a project. Guess what? If you're here right now, you are early. We're not, you know, we're not dumping tens of thousands of dollars on influencers to get in the tweet for us and stuff like that at the moment. Because at the moment, we don't really have anything to drive that, the community we would build from that towards. As we get closer to the release of GM, as we get closer to the release of GTFO, as we actually get closer to, you know, Forge key mints and stuff like that, absolutely, you'll start seeing a lot more stuff that we're doing. But right now, you know, November 2024, you are early. So yeah, absolutely, there's a lot of stuff planned. In particular, we're chatting with this one, I'm actually be careful what I say. We are chatting with a gaming-focused chain who is very excited to have the LFG ecosystem involved in everything that they are doing. We had a list of different chains pretty much from day one that we wanted to work with. This particular chain was the top of that list. That position has never changed. I know they're watching right now, and I promise I'm not just blowing smoke up your ass. I can show you the list. But yeah, this was the chain that we all hoped would want to work with us, and they came to us. So yeah, in that regard, we're very, very excited for what we're doing in that space. We're very excited about the other projects and the collaborations that will bring into the LFG ecosystem, and the opportunities that come out of that for us as a gaming studio and for members of the LFG community will be literally insane. So yeah, that I am very much looking forward to when we can actually announce that, and that should actually be very, very soon. We're literally, I've got like a meeting in like 2 days to go over like some of the final paperwork. With these sort of partnerships, it's much more than just a handshake or a Telegram message. There is lawyers, there's legal fees, there's contracts, there's, you know, a whole bunch of stuff we're going through. We redline their contract, they come back with that. It's a lot of work, especially again being who we are. For those who may not have been with us since day one, we are a registered Australian company. You know, we have an ABN, we have an ACN, we have bank accounts. Like, you know, we have employees, we have, you know, we pay them, you know, super, we pay leave. Like we're doing this as a legitimate organization that wants to be here and wants to do this for a very long time. So when we are making decisions and partnerships such as these that will have an on-flowing effect for the life of our ecosystem, we need to make sure we get it right. And that's what we're currently working on right now. So yeah, there will be some very big announcements coming up very, very shortly. When they start dropping, yeah, we hope you all enjoy them and share them, and yeah, understand that there's been a lot of work happening behind the scenes. The team has literally been all over the world this year to make some of these connections happen. And yeah, it's been that image there, Draz, that was from one of our first like, I think Hitbox, our art director, put that together in like a night, because we were chatting with a VC and trying to show what, like, the sort of scale we're trying to build, and that was one of the screenshots from it, which is really cool.
All right, thank you very much. I think we have time for one last question. Revolutionist, I'm going to skip your question because I think that kind of got answered in the last answer.
Yeah.
So
the question is, yeah, what chain? We're not saying yet, but yeah.
So
sure. All right. So Lynn Classy, Will your games have NFTs with dynamic growth function? They change depending on the
God.
progress of the game.
I could literally do a whole Forge chat on just this question. Actually, no, we need to get ahead of AI on this call because this is a question that they would jump all over. Yes, and in a way that you could not possibly imagine is the short answer for this. Your NFT, especially ignoring Forge keys for a second, ignoring the LFG token for a second. Forge keys in themselves are a relatively static NFT, as in they do what they say on the box. There is a value proposition associated with Forge keys that you will know up front, and you will know if you decide to engage with them or not. With your hero NFTs, so heroes obviously are a very big part of the LFG ecosystem. You will use them in literally every game that we create. As I said before, there are 12 factions planned. At launch, each faction will have 5 different classes. There'll be more classes dropping later on. So obviously, as we move forward, we'll do like faction releases, but we can also do class releases as well. So when we do those, it will mean like, every faction gets, a new wizard as an example at the same time, which would be really cool. But outside of that, your heroes, as I said, they will grow in terms of they will gain levels, they'll gain abilities, they will power up in that regard. Not all heroes are created equal. There'll be different rarities. There'll be ways to advance them, from common to uncommon and such like that. But then you've got the whole other side to things, which Draz, you mentioned with like the tactics, where because we are using AI to power the heroes in every game that we're creating, much more important of will your hero be stronger? As before, it's will your hero be smarter? And even in some of the early testing we've done in like little GTFO, we've seen a drastic difference in how a smart hero approaches the game and how a dumb hero approaches the game. As a really simple example, a smart hero, when they see archers coming towards them, will back off or will go around the flanks and stuff like that. Your hero legitimately has the ability to learn in game. And the training data that we use for your specific hero to be trained with is the match history of every single game that hero has competed in. So why that's really interesting is it legitimately means that when you're training your barbarian king and I'm training my barbarian king, the outcome of that training, the tactics they're learning will be different because you've played different opponents with different armies and different battles than what I have. So the data we're feeding into that training algorithm literally will be different. So you're going to get a different output at the other end. So the net result of that will be that, maybe your king is really good against archers. My king really understands, hey, don't walk on the bridge when there's a lot of, boulders being thrown around because if you fall in the chasm, you die. Where this gets really interesting is those actual tactics are attached to NFTs and they become an asset that you own. So it's almost like your hero kind of breeds tactics, if you sort of think of it that way. And then it's up to you what you choose to do with those tactics. You could keep them in that particular hero and have a really smart hero. You could take them, put them into newer heroes. So your new commons and stuff like that have a fighting chance early on. And maybe they level up really quick because of that. Maybe there's a tournament coming up this weekend and everyone's going to be using archers and you've got a tactic that's really good against archers. So you throw it on the secondary marketplace and then you go on a holiday to Bali. Maybe you rent it out to someone else within your faction or your clan or your guild to give them a chance. Maybe you take your tactics and spread them out across multiple armies or multiple squads in GM to try to give you the best chance to progress through a really deep tournament. Because maybe the tournament, while it only has, a 1 LFG token buy-in, because it has 10,000 people participating in it, which means there's 10,000 LFG tokens in the prize pool, all of a sudden having more armies and more, squads and different flavors of tactics going into an event like that gives you the best chance of progressing. It would almost be like if Australia tried to play multiple cricket teams against India this week. We'd still suck, we'd still lose, but we'd lose in new and different and interesting ways. And then imagine if all that training data which is being accumulated because you're playing the game, it's almost like you want a game that's really convenient, really easy to play on the go, and you can play it wherever you happen to be. So almost like it would make sense for us to launch the game on iOS, Android, PC, Mac, web, and Telegram. So while you're on Telegram and you're chatting with your mates, you can just quickly jump over into GM, queue up some battles, jump back. They won't even know you left the conversation. maybe you challenge them on Telegram, maybe you do a few battles there, but then you check the results the next morning on web on your work machine, because we all do that, instead of actually doing work on our work machines. And we release it on web, so you don't actually have to download anything, so that you can't get blocked by IT administrators. It's almost like we came into this with this really crazy plan of what the future of blockchain and AI gaming should look like. And yeah, dynamic growth NFTs, absolutely. Not only will your hero grow and evolve over time, they will spawn new NFTs associated with tactics. And what you choose to, whether you keep training that particular tactic or whether you choose to do something else with it, that's completely up to you. I, for one, am very much looking forward to seeing how the metagame for both GM and GTFO and Game 3 evolves over time. Because the inherent nature of AI means this can't be a solved problem. Things will always change and will always be dynamic. And as we add more variables into the mix, we add new classes, we add new factions, we add new battlegrounds, new arenas, new game modes. Everything just keeps changing up all the time. So yeah, I think it's gonna be really exciting to see how this all plays out and see get to see that as quickly as possible with the release of GM in early 2025.
Is there a place where you can go and have a look at what the contents of a tactic is? Like, it does, once you create a tactic, like, can I look at a tactic and say, well, this tactic shows that it's good against archers, or it's good against cold or heat or whatever. You can do
so
that.
You'll be able to see what the tactic is trying to influence the hero to do. There will be a little bit of inference from that. Like, this particular tactic, for example, might be saying, I really understand how to battle against archers. It's up for you to decide if that's good or bad. It's up for you to decide if you want to use that and in which hero you want to use that. Is there any point putting a tactic that's really smart against archers in one of your archers? Because he's just going to sit at the back and never actually get to the other archers in the first place. Or do you put that in the berserker that's always on the front lines and charging in? Or do you put it on the assassin that sneaks around the back and gets on the back lines? So it's one of those things where both in-game and as much as we can on various marketplaces through metadata, we'll try to show what different tactics are able to do. We're planning on building our own storefronts within the game client itself. It's one of the reasons why it's so important for us to have the game on as many platforms as possible, including web. So that if you are, just on your computer and you're looking at different tactics and stuff like that, you've got access to as much information as possible about what that tactic actually does. So yeah, hopefully.
Yeah. I was going to say, you would sort of need that, I suppose, if you were going to buy one. You're trading NFTs and things like that. You sort of want to know that you're getting your money's worth if you're looking for archer defense.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, in the same way that we will never restrict what a player chooses to do with assets that they own. These are your NFTs, not ours. If you want to go trade them on OpenSea or whichever NFT marketplace is your particular favorite to use, that's great. But yeah, we'll try to offer our own storefront that basically gives you the best experience for that as well. To basically make it, again, we know we need to build this. We're already working on that because we expect a lot of people in our ecosystem won't know what OpenSea is. I'm just saying OpenSea is just an example of a big NFT marketplace, by the way. That's not confirming or denying any change. Please don't read anything into that.
No.
It's the biggest one. I think it is anyway. Magic Eden might be getting up there, but I know OpenSea is still pretty big. Yeah. So we know we need to build this sort of infrastructure and tech out because we know that there'll be users who don't know what a wallet is, don't know what OpenSea is, don't know what Magic Eden is, don't know what various chains are. They just know they got this cool tactic thing that says it's really good against archers, and they can see that, and that some random dude called Drasnibar is offering them a certain number of LFG tokens to borrow that tactic for the weekend if they want to do it. So yeah.
Nice.
All right. Well, gentlemen, I think that it might be time for us to do the giveaway and wrap things up. How does that sound?
Works for me. I'm having a quick squeeze through because I can only actually see one other question, which is the one from EA. So I figure while you get the draw ready, I'll just quickly, just so we're not missing any questions. This is what wallets we'll be able to support. Depending on the chain that we are working with, we will support every major wallet that chain is compatible with. I'm trying to word this very carefully. But again, if you don't know how to do that, you won't need to do that technically. We'll support all your on-chain stuff for you just out of the box. But yeah, if you are Web3 savvy, if you understand, what MetaMask is, what like Coinbase Wallet is and stuff like that, you'll have no trouble interacting with the LFG ecosystem. It'll be very, very straightforward. And we're already planning on supporting bridging for both the token, forge keys and stuff like that. So depending on your chain of choice in wherever we can, we'll try to support that as well.
Perfect. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post for screenshots of the list of people who submitted questions and the picture of the RNG person, and then in our Discord, and then I will say who the winner is. Unless anybody has any objections.
No.
I'll take that as a no. Hell yeah. 3, 2, 1. Boom. Lynn Classy wins. Big dubs to her. Woo! Hell yeah.
Congratulations.
You love to see it.
Nice.
All right.
So yeah, just reach out to us, DM our account.
Yep.
On I still call it Twitter, on X. For everyone else who's going to go make fake accounts with that, please don't. We're going to know the difference. It happens every time we do a giveaway. There'll be like a bunch of fake accounts popping up where they replace like a 1 with an L or just something like that. Like, oh, I won this prize. I'm like, no, you didn't. Anyway. But yeah, send us a DM. We'll grab your details. And that was for a forge key, yeah?
It was. Yeah.
Boom.
Massive.
Done.
Woo.
Potentially the first of many forge keys that you will have.
Yeah. You never know.
Cool. All right.
Awesome.
And hey, that was only just over an hour. We're getting better at this.
We've done it.
One of these days, we'll do a forge chat that's under an hour, and I don't know. We just won't know what to do with ourselves.
I don't know. I think that'll make me feel sad.
So, what do you reckon, Draz? You excited for GM?
Very excited, mate. I'm very keen to play a lot of these games, actually. What about the you're saying tokenomics and white paper and all that sort of thing dropping soon? Minting of forge keys, that comes after tokenomics, I imagine.
Yeah. Tokenomics will be out first. We want people to have full information about what they're potentially getting involved in and what the ecosystem is designed to do. And we'll definitely make sure you have plenty of notice for any potential mints and stuff like that as well.
Sure.
As always, please follow all of our socials. If we are doing any sort of mint or giveaway or any promotion like that, we will always mention it on every platform. It will come from one of our official accounts. If you get someone randomly DMing you and saying, hey, give us something and we'll give you a forge key, it's probably fake, it's probably a scam. So just be smart. Like always, if you're ever in doubt, please go in our Discord and open a ticket. That puts you into a chat specifically with the three of us, as well as like our other team members and moderators. So if you're ever not sure about something, please reach out and check with the team. We're not generally the sort of team that's going to, I said we do quick giveaways, things like cosmetics and, NFTs and stuff like that, but it's never going to be like if you don't do this in this next 30 minutes, like it's, so just be smart about it. And
Oh yeah.
All right.
Internet Safety 101. Let's go, everybody. Woo.
Cool. But have a good day, everyone. Don't forget to go jump on Discord and sign up for Cohort 1 if you want to. If not, doesn't bother me. You're the one missing out. I mean, I'm in Cohort 1 already.
More airdrops for the rest of us.
Exactly. But have a good evening, everyone. And GM.
GM.
Cheers.